Oh, Damo, welcome in.
Hello,
Damo.
Jim, Bill, Rebsy. I'm very up and about today. I'm positive.
Good,
Mostly of the way
good,
through. And I want
good.
to start with the West team, the Fremantle team, the Sarong-led Fremantle Dockers, who I felt had a really good win against Western Bulldogs. Very watchable game, very tight contest, and one that was still alive, even though it was the 3-goal result in the end. But loved what Caleb Sarong did, Jim, and just
I
led the
didn't
way.
see it, I must admit. I
Nah.
was in Adelaide and flew back while that game was happening, so I didn't see
He
it.
got the 10 votes.
He did he? Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Sam Darcy, 8.
That
your
doesn't
man.
surprise me either, because we'll get to him as well in a different section and in a different way. But yeah, I just felt that they got their season back on track fortuitously against West Coast previous round of footy, but franked the form against the better opponent in Western Bulldogs. I feel they're away again now, and I feel that what they've been tinkering with their more attacking game style is just starting to come through. So their forward line fired. Frederick kicked 3 in the first half, and Tracy kicked 3 for the game. Jai Amos gave them a lot of targets throughout the course of the game. So just starting to finally roll after a very slow start.
Well, it interested me. As I said, I didn't see it, but just looking at the numbers, I always think when you come up against Freo Purple, you must put time into one of Sarong or Brayshaw.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
cannot just allow them to roll, because once they get a hold of you, they are very damaging midfielders.
Yeah, look, as a rule, they're not a team that does like to play that individual lockdown style that some have embraced in recent times, the Bulldogs. So they certainly would have had plans for them, but it didn't work. And look, it's not the first time Sarong's got away, but he, look, I know there's some really good leaders in that midfield patch spill in the whole competition, but to me, he is right up there with how, when he plays well, they invariably do win.
Spot on, and Andy was good too. No, very good midfield. Their forward line's going well. I think they got some injuries, the only problem out of their game.
They have.
And
You've already
played.
touched on the Jackson unavailability for the most of the last quarter too. So it was actually meritorious in that regard, because Voss had to ruck, and Murphy Reid had some really good moments, Jim, in his fourth
going
game of
all right.
footy. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He had. I hope. I think it's come through yet, but I hope that he would be in the reckoning for the Rising Star official nomination,
I
because
haven't
it
seen
was
that yet.
deserving of it. Yeah.
I am very surprised, Purple, that you were putting Freo winning at home ahead of the Saints winning on the road.
Exactly.
Well, it was a
14
line
of the
ball.
last 15 games they've dropped to
And
Port
I think
Adelaide.
I probably just went there, Jim, was because it was the absolute last game of the round, so therefore
Right.
the freshest
We'll go to the
conversation.
Saints
So
now.
let's go to the Saints, who were the second last game of the round, and have now stretched 3 in a row after a really bad start to the year. But the Geelong win in round 2 was good, and then what they did against Port Adelaide, though, because they kept coming, the power, Jim, as you know. I mean, you called it, but I love what they did. I feel McRae's had more of an effect than I thought he was going to have,
Bloody
having
oath.
crossed from the Bulldogs. I mean, Wilkie always plays well, doesn't he? Win, lose, or draw, he's just always there.
Wanganeen.
The side Wanganeen Miller,
Right.
yeah, putting together a really good season. And I think last week we gave some love to Jack Higgins. I want to give some more love, because he's now got 12 for the season, another 3. That's consecutive weeks of 3. So
12.
just really putting together a nice season. I think he's benefited from not having Max King there. Now, that will change soon, and that will be a good thing for St Kilda. But I think the way Higgins has been able to I suppose, read the incoming ball without Max being there, I think it's been good for him and arguably good for the club.
And I'll give you a positive out of that game from the other side. Horn Francis was
Yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Wasn't he,
Best on
Jim?
ground.
He had
Best player on the ground.
he had a rare quiet one, didn't he, from a Port Adelaide career perspective the previous week, Bill, and he responded really, really hard. And he was probably best on ground in that performance.
No
Just
doubt.
the Saints, though, too, given the bad start to the year back in round 1, they have been playing without Steele in the past 2 weeks. Their captain, Jack Steele, Philippou, who we expect to be a bona fide superstar in the years to come, is not playing.
And
You're motioning something which I'm not
Yeah,
picking
what
up
are you
on.
motioning
King.
for? Oh,
The
right.
King,
Just
yes.
say the
yeah.
name.
I just had mentioned that, King, and he's out. And also Howard too, Bill, who I do
did.
expect to play
Dougal.
once he's fit and up and
Dukes.
running again. So,
Come on, Dukes.
I mean, there's a good quartet of players out,
Yep.
so that's good. You need to get up very prominent, don't you, in the list of positives out of a round of footy. Someone who kicks 9 goals in this current form
straight.
of the game, and 9 goals, and he's only played the 2 games this year, Jesse
and
Hogan.
guess what he's kicked this year?
13
Straight.
straight.
13
Yeah,
straight,
from
9
2
goals.
games.
Straight. He had 10 kicks and kicked 9 goals.
He gave one away at the end.
He did.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Come on, Hogs.
Too unselfish. So he's already immediately, even missing the first 2 weeks, got himself back up near the lead in that Coleman medal, which he, as we know, won last year. And Look, I don't know what to make of what they did, the Giants against the Eagles, because it was a hard slog and a hard watch, but they're back on track and they're going to be thereabouts again. Go back to the early matches in the round. I just loved what Paddy Dangerfield did for the Cats against Melbourne. Yeah.
Powerful.
He
That's
got the
what
2 votes too, Bill, and it's no surprise that he did. There are other performers, as we touched on Saturday, on the Saturday Rub, but look, Lawson Humphries, the story that he's got behind him, it's extraordinary, and what a lovely kid too, isn't
beautiful.
he? Yeah.
Beautiful boy. He is, no doubt about that.
Yep.
Connor O'Sullivan, too. He's going along beautifully down back.
And it's strange how it works, isn't it? I say that because Jack Henry went down relatively early in the game with what appeared to be a hamstring on the back of having a week leading into the game of foot problems, which he's had regularly. But in the context of him going out, and O'Sullivan then required to step up and fill part of that breach, and obviously Guthrie did it. I've already mentioned Humphries, and I thought there was a great return to the 2022 style of form of Sam Darcy as well.
Exactly, and Reece Stanley. Well done to him.
Yeah, back in as well.
Good win.
And the 3 games Bailey Smith's played out of the 4 for the year, he obviously missed in the second week after resuming after the knee reco in round 1. But I think he's played a really good trio of matches.
Bloody oath.
Yep.
Who else do you like?
Look,
Riley Philthorpe?
No, we're going to go with Sam Darcy first. Sam Darcy. We already touched on the Dockers beating the Bulldogs, but what Sam Darcy did to kick 5 goals, 3 of them in the first half, to keep the Bulldogs into it. There was a scrimmage late where there were 36 players around the ball. The tallest player in the game somehow managed to find space in that moment and kick his 5th goal of the game. It was his 21st disposal of the game. He's gone in order for rounds 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 goal, 4 goals, 2 goals, 5 goals, 12 for the year, Bill. He's officially arrived. There's no more talking about him as being the next big thing. He is the big thing. And I think he's going to be a matter of 2 months away from being talked about as the best player in the comp if he just continues to track the way he's tracking. They're no longer sweeping statements these around him, and I just love what he's doing. It's so exciting for them.
What about Philthorpe?
Yeah, we'll get to Philthorpe now because he kicked the same amount of goals, didn't he? 5 goals for the Adelaide team against Gold Coast in that.
Fogarty and Texan.
Yeah, Texan as well. Yeah.
They kicked. Adelaide kicked how many goals for the game? They kicked 14 goals. Those 3 forwards kicked 12.
12 of the 14, which might be a problem in a different way. But when they fell or fall 1 point short as they did against the team that we now all expect to be pretty prominent, don't we, in September against the Gold Coast Suns on the Gold Coast Suns home deck. Look, players from both sides stepped up there and performed. Philthorpe was one of them. Bill Dawson's leadership of that club has been profound. Peatling, one of the recruits, is again having a nice season.
Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac Cumming was good, and I like Jake Saliga. It wasn't his best game for the year, but he still performed. And just on the winners' side, I thought Daniel Rioli was just fantastic. And we know that Damien Hardwick identified him, Jim, went and got him, and you can see why. Because I won't say he single-handedly turned the team around, but what he's allowed to have happen under Damien Hardwick's watch is to play that style he likes. And without him, I'm not sure it would have been as effective so quickly.
I'll tell you who else was good.
Miller.
Mitch Hinge.
Your man,
Hingy was
you're about 2 weeks early on him.
I just went a bit early, as usual.
2 weeks early.
He was very good. Very good.
Purple, as we go to the break, Adelaide are due more than one.
Yeah.
So to all the other footy fans out there, and I hope it happens for them in a final, when they get the umpire's decision go their way and they get up, they have earned it. Well, because they have copped it hard.
Let's have a look at officials. The history in that space, Jim, on the other side of this. Amongst the negatives.
Good tease.
More with Damian Barrett next.
Nice game, mate.
It's the rush hour Triple M.
It's taken me 20 years.
Has stuck around. Has already had his likes. JB from round 4. Now he's got
a
bit
few more left if you want to.
A few more.
Just to sign
more
off.
Positivity.
Loved Will Hayward's game for the Swans against North Melbourne. Loved Riley Bice's game.
What about Riley Bice?
Yeah.
From Werribee.
Yeah. And prior to that, in the Ovens and Murray.
Yeah, exactly. But same with Hendo, Jack Henderson playing for Melbourne. They both come out of Werribee from last year and playing good footy.
He's a great story. I mean, again, Matty Lloyd knows a lot more about footy than I do, and he said yesterday that as of Game 5 for Riley Bice, Bill, that he will be started to be tagged in Game 5. So
that's amazing.
And Sam Davison that we spoke to last week, they just come from nowhere. The Doc,
it's good. Collingwood's oldies, as we touched on Saturday, just partaking into the game of footy, the oldest team in their history of VFL and AFL action, and getting the job done, and will continue to try to do so for the rest of the year. Jim, you touched on the Adelaide Crows situation. It's 4 times now in 37 matches, and just getting your head around that just takes some doing. Where the AFL has admitted umpire error in the final 2 minutes of those matches. 4 times in 37.
Yep.
People will remember these incidents. I'll quickly rattle them off. 2023, round 15, Dawson got a head-high hit in a game against Collingwood. The same game that was also where Isaac Rankin was pinned for going too far. When I don't think it was too far. That's one game.
They lost by 2 points.
I think it might have been a draw at 1 point, whatever it was, yeah. Round 24, same season, Bill.
Yes.
That was the non-goal.
Keezer.
Your man, Jim, the Keezer. Round
Keezer.
6,
They
the
lost
next
by a
year,
point.
2024. Sam Draper nearly hatched a football in the last seconds and was not paid a free kick against, and the umpires admitted it straight away. It should have been.
Lost by 3 points.
Lost by 3 points, and then you get to round 4 of the weekend just gone in 2025, and Rankin wasn't paid what should have been A, a mark, or B, an infringement
Not
upon
a
the mark.
but a free kick.
Do you reckon the free kick, do you?
Free kick.
Yeah, I reckon you could claim that he did
didn't
control that ball enough.
No,
but
he didn't.
even if he didn't, they've said that if he didn't, it should have been a free
No,
kick.
they've been unlucky.
Yeah, so you reckon they were owed some karma, some good karma, Jim?
Mate. And when because this is the thing about footy, all other 17 fans go, I couldn't give a stuff sucked in because that's the nature.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is when the karma bus actually hits the other mob and gives them a free kick, then don't complain about it because they're due it.
Yeah.
Lee Colbert, 1997, semi-final.
Anthony Rocker,
Lee
grand
Colbert
final.
took a mark.
He did.
Running back with
It
the
was actually
ball.
no, the hands were on that ball.
No. Remember
So
that?
anyway, they will be due it when it happens.
Yeah, they certainly will be. I want to bracket Carlton and Melbourne together because they're both 0 and 4, and I feel now that there's a sameness to their game style. Now, they've got different game styles, but there's a sameness to them every single week, and ultimately, Jim, it's just not stacking up in 2025 as the better teams and the teams that are competing for this year's flag, at least at this early stage, have got some layers to the way they play football.
They've got some run.
They've got some run for certain. And some creativity and some dare, which is not words you'd use to describe what both Carlton and Melbourne are doing to this point. Carlton losing round 4 to Collingwood, Melbourne losing round 4 to Geelong.
Yeah, they've got a massive weekend, both clubs.
Yeah.
They've got Carlton play West Coast, so surely for Blues fans, they get the job done there.
What happens if they got
and
beaten?
Melbourne,
Essendon.
Essendon, that's not going to be easy either. So, yeah.
And the scheduling of that Melbourne-Essendon game being the isolated Saturday night game too, it may have looked okay on paper in the fixturing back in October of last year. I'm not sure it does have that same appeal right now. But Jim, I'm not giving Carlton anything at this stage. I know what you're saying. I mean, it looks on paper they should get their first win.
West Coast, surely.
Well, you know, West Coast pushed Brisbane Lions only 2 weeks ago. They were in front at half-time against the reigning premier 2 weeks ago, Bill. So
if they don't win that.
Yeah. Well, if they don't win that, we'll be talking about them in a very negative way this time next week. I've held it back to this point, Jim, but North, can you give it?
No, it was very, very poor. Not only didn't they look like they had method to defend, they also, which is a bigger worry, didn't look like they had any intent to defend. And that is damning. You know, if you'd have said to Dean Cox, what do you want to see today? He would have said, I want to see an uncontested game. I want to see, players folding off and allowing us time and space with ball in hand. I want to see our forwards able to find room deep inside D50. He would have said, there's no chance we will see that. But if you ask me what I want, that's what I want. And after 2 hours, he got exactly what he wanted. That last hour was very, very poor.
No, it was. And they took into that game a very injury-riddled team. Goulden, Papley and Mills were the headline acts out of it. But you can get to 9, the number of players that were out. You've also got Fox and Malikan and Cunningham and Logan McDonald's another one, Bill, Taylor Adams. So there were 9 of them who would be considered first starters in that team. So it was a really poor performance by North and one that just does nothing to suggest to anyone that they are on the right track despite the noises coming out of the place.
Well, I thought they had been better, but that was woeful. So I would hope that the 4-time premiership coach has corralled them and said, right, I don't want to ever see that again. Because if you can't defend, you can't play modern AFL footy.
I hope he gave it to him, like a good old sting.
Well, it's
only do 4 or 5 a year, and hopefully he did.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Mark Bays, he couldn't play.
Yeah.
That's just rolling out old Rod Carter. You're going to roll him out the tilt. Yep. What else, Purple?
Port Adelaide 1 and 3. It's a worry now, isn't it? Obviously, we touched on the team that beat them before, St Kilda, but I'm really worried, Jim, about Connor Rosie's form or lack thereof. He just has not been the player since he was given captaincy. Now, I've got no doubt he carried some niggles last year, and you're prepared to give him that. But unfortunately for him, he hasn't started 2025 at all well. And I just say that because we had built him up and he built himself up, and he had the reputation by the end of 2023 that he was in the elite midfielders in the competition. And unfortunately for him, apart from some spasmodic performances last year, he has not been consistent at all.
And Zachy Butters? I know he's been injured.
Yeah, well, he came back.
I know,
look, there were some moments he had where he butchered the footy, but you couldn't question him. He tried to impact the game, and he was running right to the very end. But have you noticed anything with Connor Rosie?
I just think he's too good to be playing the way he is. Yeah. He's got way too much talent, so I'm sure will bounce back. But they're interesting. I mean, I didn't see him at 1 and 3. That's for sure.
No. And then one more negative, just the West Coast Eagles. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
What are you laughing at, Fat?
Oh, Ryan's doing something
He
stupid.
keeps sticking his tongue out like weird.
He's just an idiot.
He's on another planet today.
West Coast Eagles.
West Coast Eagles. We discussed last week, didn't we, with the Oscar Allen lack of leadership on all levels, not just from him, but people around him.
How did he play, by the way?
Not well, but how is he meant to play with a team that is really, really threadbare with talent and coming up against GWS?
Yes,
he's not right, Jim.
No.
Damo.
Can I just say?
All I can say is I apologise to you,
Thank you,
as a professional and a friend of the show, having to come in and put up with that garbage.
I don't think Rabsy's helping us. I think he's encouraging him.
Rabs is a giggling machine,
Match
so that's all they do,
has it come
those
out
two
yet?
idiots.
No, but there's going to be a lot of focus on the Toby Green, I'd say tunnelling motion against Matt Owies, Bill.
No.
I think he should get some time away.
No, he won't. I'm telling you right now. Nothing to see or hear, Your Honour.
What about Darcy Byrne-Jones?
He'll get off a fine and he won't get suspended. So Toby's okay.
Yep.
And Darcy Byrne-Jones, maybe 1 week. Maybe one. One or two, but I'll go with one.
Go with one, will you?
I'll stick my neck out.
You might be right.
Toby,
when are you over to Adelaide, Purple?
They're on Friday for Friday huddle reasons, Jim, and I'll see you then on Saturday for Saturday.
Frothy.
Yes.
We have a beer.
Reasons.
We have a beer, Damo.
We'll try and do that.
Hey, mate, we're going to have a frothy.
Jimmy,
You can't help laughing at it.
We're going to have a froth, Dame.
Yeah, here we do. I'm not going to look at him. I'm looking at you, Rabsy.
We'll have a
And I'm look at you, Jim. And it's been enjoyable today as we do the positive and negatives on the Monday after round 4.
Oh, my God.
We'll go to an art gallery and have a wine, Damo.
No, we won't.
Oh, my, stop it.
Yeah.
And you called him Dame as well.
Damien.
You know you're on cameras in here.
I love you, Damien.
Monday Frag.
See you, Purple.
Not too far away. Damian Barrett, you're getting him as part of the midweek rub on Wednesday as well.